The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 28th day of August, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations on Hot 107.5. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by Peoples. How's everyone feeling today? It is, as you all call it, it's Friday Junior. Yep, Friday Junior. Sherry's favorite day of the week is tomorrow. Yep, we have almost made it to another weekend. And actually, tomorrow marks the end of, what's this, the 8th month for the show, because obviously when we come back, it'll be September. So we've made it to the 8th month. Man, this year is going by fast, huh? Time flies when you're having fun. Well, I hope you're having fun. I can't speak for everyone, but I hope you're having fun. But anyway, it will be the final show in August tomorrow. So happy Friday, Junior. Happy Thursday. Hope you all are having a fantastic week and have had a fantastic year and a fantastic August. But on that note, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Julie Harrington on from PALS. Yes, she's the clinical nurse manager. I think I said that right. She's an important person to know, and we're going to be talking to her in a bit about the important work that they are doing as part of PALS, one of the organizations that myself and many others hold in high regard. It's one of those things where, unfortunately, you never want to have to deal with them, but when you need them, phew, they are everything that you hoped you would have. So really, really appreciate everyone over at PALS for coming on every other month to just, remind people or let people know who they are, that they do exist, and the important work that they do in such vulnerable times in our lives. So looking forward to the conversation with Julie. Folks, the Daily Play is going to be a Name That Place today. You all did very well with the music yesterday. You got that, was it Tony Braxton thing pretty fast. All right, a lot of Unbroken Hearts. Okay, so we're gonna do some Name That Place today, and I think you all will get this right. I hope you all will get this right, even though I didn't know the answer. All right, but obviously you're smarter than I. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, this is your question of the morning. What are your thoughts on the PLP saying that the government is making steady progress, and do you feel the progress that's being celebrated? Well, what is Jamal talking about today, you say? Well, audience, the PLP, the Progressive Labor Party's Aisha Musson, yep, she ran for the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party in the last election. She wrote that Bermuda is making steady progress, pointing to more housing units and scholarships and better mental health support, even medical tourism, she mentioned. But I got some questions after reading Ms. Musson's article. And I just want to say this. I've never met Ms. Musson. I know nothing about her outside of her running for the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party. And based on pictures and video, I probably would be able to identify her if I walked across her in public. That's it. I have to say that because I need people to understand this is not personal. I'm speaking specifically to what Ms. Musson wrote in this article. So, in fairness, she highlighted some positives, and many of these things, Maya or Teo or Simone, they've shared on this show. They've spoken about some of the things that she mentioned. We had a whole discussion about the medical tourism facility, right? Ms. Musson spoke about the increased funding for community support organizations. She spoke about increased funding for mental health support to organizations like Age Concern and Family Center and Women's Resource Center, and men's access to support and counseling and Bermuda College Foundation, Youth Mental Health Plan. She spoke about scholarship funding to enable 60 students to pursue higher education. She spoke about increased funding for youth mentorship. She spoke about the investment of almost $150,000 to partner with Home on addressing homelessness. She spoke about the completed upgrades to Shelley Bay Park and Sands Dock down in North Shore there, Sandy's. She spoke about the foundation being laid, as I just mentioned, for Bermuda's first medical tourism facility. As far as housing, she spoke about the Chelsea property as affordable housing, with 5 new apartments that will be launched. She spoke about the phase 3 of 18 Battery Road in St. David. She spoke about the Harmony Terrace North project with 16 new apartments, and Middletown construction is set to begin on 4 2-bedroom units. And in her own words, she says there's more work to do, but step by step, week by week, progress is being made, she says. But here's my issue with Ms. Musson and what Ms. Musson has said. I don't think anyone is questioning that, 1, the government is working. 2, that there's not progress in some areas. But let me tell you why the question is what it is this morning. And if you're tuned in on radio, the question is, what are your thoughts on the PLP saying that the government is making steady progress? And do you feel the progress that's being celebrated? Well, here's why this should be of concern, folks. 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, there was a murder in broad daylight. Double murder, a block from PLP headquarters. A block from PLP headquarters. This follows a mass shooting that took place several months ago. You know, someone said to me, why do you think the premier held a press conference almost on a daily basis during COVID, but hasn't had one press conference regarding unprecedented violence in our community? And I said, well, probably because he doesn't have an election in mind. And they said, think deeper, Jamal. And it hit me. There was money to be made during COVID. So while I appreciate Ms. Musson highlighting what I don't think is missing many people, there are some harsh realities where the government or people don't feel the government is doing or saying anything. Violence. There's also the debt. People want to know what the government is doing to reduce the debt. They should get weekly updates on how the debt is doing. We haven't heard that in Ms. Musson's article. We have a population problem. Not only do Bermudians continue to leave in droves, but we have an aging population that's putting pressure on various services in Bermuda. We want to hear progress being made in attracting Bermudians back to the island. And then there's the cost of living. Well, we had a summit. The groceries are still high. Healthcare is still high. Electricity hasn't really lowered. And now you can say, oh, well, it's reduced, but it's still high. People are still saying that their paycheck doesn't stretch far enough. And while they've invested in these new units for homes, there's still a housing crisis. Home reported very high levels, 1,100 something homeless people earlier this year. And we haven't even begun to speak about the state of education. It's taking government years to do things that private institutions in the same country are doing within months. So again, the question to you all this morning, as you hear about what Ms. Musson has said, that, and they love to say, as she started, when headlines and social media are dominated by negativity and instigating division for likes to grab your attention, it can be easy to miss the quiet, steady progress being made. No, that's not it. That's not it. You can't blame the media for your own incompetence or naivety. Or have you become that disconnected as the party of the people that you can't understand that they can recognize progress, but see other issues as bigger, like violence in our community, like a failing education system, like a cost of living crisis. So no, don't blame headlines and social media. You write the headlines and control the narratives when you do right by the people. Audience, again, question of the morning. What are your thoughts on the PLP saying that the government is making steady progress? And do you feel that progress that's being celebrated? We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says, yes, but the progress is not reaching all sectors of the community, leaving the perception for some that nothing's being achieved. When I start to read the things about the housing units, and I see numbers like, we'll add 5 new apartments, or 12 new apartments, or 16 new apartments, or 4 2-bedroom units. Those are not large numbers. So it's almost like you're in school, right? You're in school and you've been failing, you've been getting Fs. And next semester, instead of getting an F, you got a D. And then the following semester, you got a D+. Then finally, you get up to a C-. That's what I feel like we're celebrating right now. It's progress, but is it really progress? You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense, audience? I feel like we're still celebrating things that are not growing us, helping us to become better. And I can't be the only one. I cannot be the only one. So I find it quite disturbing that a PLP former candidate would write something, in my opinion, which is shallow for anyone who can read and who reads. I find the article very shallow, especially, and I will repeat, when we had a broad daylight murder within a block of PLP headquarters. I think actually showing some sensitivity to the community and discussing that would seem less political and more compassionate. But audience, is on you. Do you feel, and this is a yes or no, you shouldn't be afraid to answer publicly about your government, but do you feel the progress that's being celebrated by the government? Do you feel it? Yes or no? Do you feel it? But also, what are your thoughts on the PLP saying that the government is making steady progress? I'm going to say, I'm going to have to agree. They are making progress, but progress looks very different. Are we saying we're going from a B plus to an A plus? Are we saying we're going from an F to a C minus over an extended period of time? How do we define progress? Is progress just moving forward? Doesn't matter the speed? This is it's kind of disturbing. Suzanne Ingham says, I'll read it from the site. She says, that's it, Jamel. 2 weeks ago and earlier this year. Murders 2 weeks ago and earlier this year. I want to see our men getting the help they need and the gang issues dealt with / resolved. And yes, the amount of debt we have. Help Bermudians first. We need to be able to live too. What do I think? Not much. Well, I think that what they will say, and based on what Ms. Mawson has mentioned here, is they're funding for organizations like Men's Access to Support and Counseling. They will probably say, well, that's supporting the mental state of men, right? I mean, for all we know, they're giving money to people. We don't know if there are things tied to this. Well, as part of us government funding, you have to do this amount of stuff and so on. We don't know. But I would love, and it doesn't have to be the minister, Michael Weeks. It can be an Aisha Masan, a former candidate. Anyone. To say, you know what? This happened very close to our home and we're not going to ignore it. And you could have approached that article so differently. You know what? Our government is working to deliver what Bermudians need. But at this time, we simply cannot ignore some other things taking place in our community. And this is how we are working to tackle the gang violence issue, the cost of living issue, the education issue, the out-migration issue, and aging population issue. You see, addressing the big issues that people have goes a long way because it shows you care. But when you write dismissive articles like that, it comes across, to use the words of Glenn Blakeney, as disingenuous. I'm no politician, and I could never be one. And that's for various reasons we're not going to touch on. But what I will say, as a person who votes, though I was removed from the Bermuda Register, but as a person who votes, I'm concerned that we can have articles written like this. And I said this when Michael Fay was the minister, was a minister for the One Bermuda Alliance, and we were heading towards the 2017 election. And he was posting a bunch of stuff, and I was just like, a government that delivers for the people doesn't need to keep telling them what they're doing for the people. And I use this example all the time. Responsible parents should not have to remind their children of what they're doing for them. The children should feel it. A good government shouldn't tell me that they're working for me. I should feel the work they're doing for me. So I feel like there's a disconnect. And maybe it's just me, because you all are silent this morning. You're not saying much. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who feels this way. Or maybe you all are just scared. But this was your daily discussion, brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Michael Daniels says, the moral compass of Western civilization is out of step with our present reality. I don't disagree. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, the topics you mentioned don't make political parties look good, which is why they run from them. Avoid them. And this is the thing, it's not about looking good. There's not an election on the horizon. It's about taking on things that you know of great concern for the people. I mean, all this fancy PR and stuff, I don't know. Folks, let's pay give some love to Titan Express and Secure for ensuring we can have these most important community conversations and discussions with you on a daily basis.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks, if you haven't already, whether you're streaming on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter X, or LinkedIn, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Before we bring Maya in, man, I had a laugh this morning. Remember last week, Teo and I were talking. We were talking about influencers and stuff, and I said, I think Bermuda's only local influencer is probably Mr. Photogenic, and one of the reasons I gave is, regardless of race or your stature, everyone talks about Mr. Photogenic and they mimic him and mock what he does and says. Anyway, I think he just released the funniest one he's done yet. You don't know what I'm talking about? Because I know some of you older folk, you don't do the Instagram thing. But let me get you laughing before Maya comes in with some more serious stuff. Oh boy, no milk like I'm lactose intolerant. Boy, oh no, that brother got time, boy. He has time. Let's bring Maya Pelosi in for Daily Hour News Break. I'm still bumping to it. I know that's a hit. That's a hit. Oh, milk around. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi. Ooh, MP, how you doing? It's Thursday. I forget to go over Instagram sometimes with the comments, and someone mentioned on Instagram that I actually forgot to mention the roads, road fatalities and collisions, as I was speaking about the article from Aisha Mussin. So I just wanted to say that before we moved on, that that's another thing. Like, what are we doing with our roads to make them safer and the like? But Yeah, Mr. Photogenic's a pretty creative guy, huh?
He's definitely entertaining. Definitely has a way of what's the word? Extreme consistency. Like that's the best way I can really put him when it comes to being influential in Bermuda. He has extraordinary consistency and knowing just quick turnarounds. Like, I don't think anyone does it better than him in terms of like getting it out there when it's happening, while it's happening, the topic, the involvement. So that's really something I truly admire about his work.
I'm gonna say this: he's not lazy, because I'm looking at that video. You had to go buy the clothes, then you had to go find a location with cows, and you had to come up with the lyrics and find the right beat for it. Then that's a lot. But people, this is what I mean. Social media is not just about doing something and posting it. You have to actually put work into that. Like,
you don't think he got that from his closet? I feel like he had that in his closet somewhere in the back. And that is
we're gonna ask.
Porn.
We're gonna ask him, bro. If you had that in your closet, you're made for it. You're Bill Cosby Jr. after this one.
I mean, if you entertain that much, you gotta kind of have some things in your repertoire. Like he used to do all those videos even further back in the day. So I'm sure he has his built up of quote unquote costumes.
Crazy, man. That brother is crazy. All right, MP, what you got for us today?
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. This is your daily hour news break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. So your glow up starts with People's, from skincare to makeup and all the beauty brands you love. They definitely are more than just a pharmacy there. So they are also your self-care stop too. So make sure you head there for all of your needs. Now, we talked about collisions earlier, just now, fatal collisions, and unfortunately, we have these plagues of just serious road collisions happening on the island because another recent one was reported in the city of Hamilton. Now, this happened just after 10:30 on Wednesday morning. Police and emergency responders were called to Front Street between King and Court Street following a collision involving a pedestrian and a light van. So initial reports indicate the male pedestrian stepped off the curb and into the path of the vehicle where he was struck. He is believed to have suffered a head injury. First responders found the man breathing but unresponsive. So he was rushed to the hospital for treatment of what was considered serious injuries.
I don't know. Well, sending him healing energy. Wow, stepped off the sidewalk.
So stepped off the curb. So
curb, okay. Yeah, curb is different from a sidewalk in Bermuda. Well, I hopefully speedy recovery and it's not too bad.
Yes, indeed. Head injuries are no joke. I mean, I bought a story on here before talking about like serious injuries, serious head collisions. Like these types of incidents can lead to lifelong challenges. Truly. So it's nothing to feel. What's the word? Like, yes, fatal collisions are horrible. These collisions are just as horrible. It stays for a long time if the recovery isn't swift and quick, and it's a huge burden on the family. So yes, we're hoping for a speedy recovery, a healthy recovery, and that this person can live a full and healthy life afterwards. All right, jumping into your main story this morning, like history is definitely and could be more in the making. It's an increasingly big deal right now because Bermuda's men's national team is just one step away from reaching the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So on September 5th, they will be facing Jamaica at home in the final round of the qualifiers. And never before has Bermuda come this close to the biggest stage in the world of football. To get a sense of what this moment means, I got to speak with Jair Parfit, one of the key players on Team Bermuda, who had 17 caps for Bermuda and 6 goals. Now, currently he's residing and playing in Finland, and he's excited to be making his way back home for the upcoming match. Now, I began by asking him what it feels like to be a part of a team that is making momentous history for Team Bermuda right now.
Wow. Honestly, for me personally, it's like I'm so grateful for it, for one. It feels like destiny, it feels like fate, it feels like all those things, because I feel like we have a real chance to even make it to the next stage, which is the actual World Cup. It's given me a lot of motivation, even where I am now, to continue to just keep progressing and make sure I can be in the best shape and the best form for when I come back to play with the national team.
So with such a massive match ahead as well. I asked him about the role of like the crowds and getting the fans out there because, as I've noted on the show, as we said before, we haven't filled that stadium in quite a long time. So I
Mhm.
asked him basically like, what would it mean? Like, how does the small amount or large amount affect the players really in how they play the performance or just how they feel?
Wow, I mean, it would be everything, really. Like if having a bigger crowd is naturally more motivating within itself, more noise, more spectators, and of course in our home country it would help us as well as like the 12th man sort of ideology. But I remember as a kid growing up, when I would go watch the national team, the whole stadium would be packed, both sides. I remember that like very vividly as a kid. So I'm not sure what has transpired, that it's not like that at the moment, but hopefully with some of these teams that are going to be coming in and some of the bigger name players that are going to be playing will force people to want to come and watch, and hopefully we are able to win these games so people will stay watching.
Mhm.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think we could fill up the stadium for this game?
I think we will. I just hope that Bermudians understand that Jamaicans will show up and Jamaicans will be heard. And I say this with love. This should not be a Jamaica home game. So Bermuda, show up.
Hmm.
Bring your Jamaican friends. For every Jamaican friend you bring 2 or 3 Bermudians. All right. Like it shouldn't be a home game for Jamaica. Love our Jamaican brothers and sisters, but let's show up. Let's get out there and support them. And if you know and love sports, you know how important home field advantage can be.
Yes,
Get
1000%. Let's
yeah.
get there, Bermuda. All right, next we did talk about exactly what we actually discussed this more on the show. It's just the importance of like focusing on what's happening right now on the island and the crucial parts that we're all tapping into and we're all trying to understand. So here's the next question that I did get to ask him. While we are celebrating football right now, we've also been facing a wave of violence with recent shootings on the island. So as a young man pursuing your dreams, how does it
Mm.
feel to see some of, your peers choosing a very different path?
That's a deep question, and of course I've heard about it, I've read about it. I feel like, it's easy to sit here and say we need to like do more as a community, but you can only do so much because I know listen, we've all been teenagers. Like when you leave your parents and when you leave school or whatever and you go away with your friends, you might be a completely different person than when you're at school or when you're at home. I just feel like we need to try to make better decisions. However that happens, I don't have the answer. I do think, like I said, I do think the music is the biggest factor, genuinely.
They're gonna rip him up like they ripped me up when I spoke about the music at cop matching children around. But to his point, all seriousness, he's right. When we go away, um, uh, like it's our first time away from our parents and guardians, we kind of do become different people. That doesn't mean that we all just go and act crazy or drink and smoke and do stuff, but we're seeing things coming from small little Bermuda that we may not see. Challenge with that is these are not people who are leaving home, like the country. These are people who are just going outside their house and becoming different people. They're becoming monsters because of the influence around them. And it's happening at a younger age when their minds are sponges, right? Their minds are, easily influenced. It's a challenge. I like him. Have said before, I don't know the answers. I don't have the answers. But I think continuous discussions will get us closer to the answers.
We end up staying on that topic for about a good 8 minutes. There is an extended version that will be posted on my YouTube around 7 p.m. tonight. So definitely look out for that to see everything that he had to say on the topic. But we're going to close it up on a higher note as I finally asked him, like, if he could imagine that moment, what would it be like if Bermuda did win this match against Jamaica?
Wow, I mean, it would be everything, really. Like if we are fortunate enough to qualify for the actual World Cup, and win these games, it would be not only life changing for us as players, but as a country. It will put us on the map even more for football and for sports in general. And it would be it would be a dream for I think every child growing up wanting to play for the national team, because they will see that we have had success, and they would grow up wanting to be a part of that.
Hmm. I believe Macy O'Dill said about 7 years ago, I had a conversation with him on a podcast, and he said that this year would be, 2026 World Cup would be Bermuda's best chance to make a World Cup, simply because the host nations are taking out US, Mexico, and Canada, but also more teams went from 30 something to 48, I think. So I think it is a great chance, but it's a lot of work to do. I mean, you're dealing with players in Jamaica who have changed allegiance from England to Jamaica. Mason Greenwood, had he not had the sexual assault allegation, probably would have been one of the best playing for England, and is playing for Jamaica. So these are not players on the same level per se, but again, it takes more than talent. It's grit, it's determination and hunger. So I think they need to give themselves a chance to go out there and make their dreams come true.
I completely agree. And I really do hope that a lot of people can get out there in those stands and show them that support, It
But
really
yeah,
does make a huge difference.
Rosalind Famous asked the capacity. I believe it's between it's 8,500 total capacity, between 8,000 and 9,000 is the capacity. At least back in the day, it was 8,500. Definitely not 4,000, Charles. Definitely not 4,000. I think that's just might be the grandstand side, but yeah, the full capacity back in 2008 when we hosted Trinidad was about 8,000 something.
It can hold a lot.
Yeah.
It can. You just got to get out there. And the tickets are available on gpass.bm as well. But yeah, let's try to put that sea full of blue and pink. All right, let's close out this news break with your weather this morning. So it's looking like some sunny periods with a few showers and possibly even some rumbles heading along too. So you might hear some thunder as well. And we got a high of 86 degrees too. So.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Maya. Real quickly, we've got some days of the year. It is National Red Wine Day here, National Bow Tie Day. You've got Rainbow Bridge Remembrance Day, mourning the loss of a pet. We've got Radio Commercials Day, National Cherry Turnover Day, Crackers Over the Keyboard Day, National Thoughtful Day, and International Read Comics Day in Public. Well, that's something Taylor's done all his life. But we've got all those days. Do you have like a favorite radio commercial that comes to mind that you thought about?
Don't start. It's definitely going to be something from way back in the day that has just stayed on my mind forever. Like there's definitely a couple of Bermuda oldies that you don't hear no more that I think about. And then some stuff that used to be on the commercials way back when I used to watch the Oprah Winfrey show with my family at the kitchen table. Like, things that just stay in my head. I'm not going to say them now, but yeah.
Well, I had a commercial. I know everybody remembers. You make me want to shout. That one there. Yeah, that one was, man, that was the bomb. But real quickly, Maya. So the audience told me to go buy some lottery tickets, right?
Oh.
So I bought me the Powerball, and when I woke up this morning, I looked out the window, and it's going up to like 900 something million because nobody won. So audience, you owe me. Put your mind together. $3 I paid for this ticket. $3 you pay for the ticket. Real quickly. So I think the $10, the 8,000 I'm talking about, I think in 2008 they added seats. Because it was so many people. So let's hope they do that. I think the grandstand's about 2,000 and then the other side is like 2,000. But I think if I'm not mistaken, they added seats. Those old school bleachers they used to put, they added them in First Trinidad. So I think it was like the capacity then was like about 8,000. But yeah, I think it's about 45 with the current seating that's there right now. That makes sense, audience? But all that said, with our population, we should have the point is that we shouldn't have a problem filling that stadium. Cool. All right. Look, send you my bank information to get me my money back for donating with that lottery ticket. We might not have another chance. I got another one here for you. All right, Maya, you have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a great day, everyone.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We've got a very important conversation coming up with Julie Harrington, talking about PALS. And folks, if you had not tuned in, PALS is one of the most important organizations we have in Bermuda. So I would encourage you not only to tune in, ask questions, and feel free to send them your gratitude for how they've maybe helped you, but you're going to learn today how their medical and nursing teams actually help families out. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a quick minute, and we'll have Julie Harrington in the house with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Ready to take your financial game to the next level? HSBC is here to help you power up your financial fitness. Your strategy should be sharp and ready for anything, because luck won't get you to the top. Whether securing your future, growing wealth, or planning for life's next serve, HSBC's experts are here for you. From budgeting to investing, let's craft a plan as unique as your goals. Plus, get free financial planning consultations to stay on track. Learn more at hsbc.bm/financial planning. HSBC Bank Bermuda is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Get ready for the cool Bermuda nights ahead. A CI-AC mini split AC unit from BAC Group is the perfect solution, keeping you warm this winter and cool all summer long. While supplies last, you can get a unit starting at just $913.50. Plus, receive an extra 10% off when you pay with cash or credit card at the counter. BAC Group, comfort for every season.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear. You can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I am Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations on Hot 107.5. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, without further ado, let's bring in our very special guest for the day. It's again, we have these bi-monthly conversations with PALS and another important conversation with Julie Harrington. Let's give her a warm TDH welcome. Greetings, Julie. How are you?
I'm very well, Jamel. How are you?
I'm wonderful. First off, thank you for your patience. Maya talks a lot, so she takes up a lot of time. Yeah, don't worry about it. All right, Julie, I'm going to put you on the spot. I've got to put you on the spot. Do you have a favorite radio commercial that you remember from back in the day?
I don't have a radio commercial, but I have a TV one, which involved PALS when Ann Smith Gordon was the executive director, and she used to hook up with, I don't know his name, this old fella, and they were on the beach, and she would be saying, "Come on, by, get going." And the other ones were from Lindo's when Di James used to go out and be in the cow field, and he'd slip and he'd fall because somebody asked him for a carton of milk and there wasn't any in the store, and like just crazy, stupid
How
stuff.
could I forget the old Linda's commercials?
Yeah.
Those were those were some of the best local commercials ever made. Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I need to see that Pals one now. We've got to get
Yeah,
that.
it was. They were going down the beach, and I think it was again tied with Lindo's in when they started to bring in reusable bags, and Lindo's promoted us on the bag, and she had the bag, and they were going, and Anne was probably my age now back then, and this old fella, and she says she's kind of pulling him along, and he's staggering in the sand, and it is very funny.
I love it. I love it. Well, Julie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you for your patience. For those who are just tuned in, just give the audience a bit about your background. Tell them a bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
I'm a registered nurse. I have been in nursing starting in 1971, so I'm cracking 54 years of doing this. I'm not university based at all. It was long before the year 2000, I think, was when it kind of switched up from hospital nursing into what is now a 4-year degree that you have to do in most jurisdictions around the world. I'm not that. I'm a registered nurse from the old days. And I've worked in a number of disciplines, ending up about 12 years ago, maybe, coming to PALS after doing a number of things. I worked away for a long time in Montreal for about 17 years under the McGill MUHC, it's called, in a level 1 trauma center attached also to the Montreal Neurological Hospital. And then I came home with my family and did various stuff here in Bermuda. I worked for PALS as one of the nurses at that time. And then I retired a little bit early and I left Bermuda and stayed away for almost 5 years. And then I came back and I worked for government during COVID. And during that time, a business proposal that I had kind of put forward when I left was I felt that nursing had to be their own division within PALS and to be managed by a nurse. And so they brought that forward. And even though I was getting on a bit and I hadn't worked for a bit, I was encouraged to apply, and here we are. So what I have done, what I had always wanted to do for myself was to get a certification in palliative care medicine. So earlier this year, one of our locum physicians and myself did the European Certificate in Essential Palliative Care. So I have that certification now.
Congratulations. And I'm sure everyone at PALS and the community is happy to have you back. Let's get into PALS and the nurses. What does a typical day look like for you and your nursing team when you're caring for a cancer patient in their home?
For me, it's different from the nurses. We have 5 nurses plus 1. When I was one of them, as I say, we were 5 nurses, and we never had to have like cover for sick time or vacation time. If you were off for a period of time, you dispersed your patients amongst the remaining nurses that were working, and it all worked very well. We're now at a point where we cannot do that with the it's not so much the number of patients, although that has increased. It's about at least 50% more, which is fine. That's good, I think, because that means that people are paying attention and realizing the necessity of having PALS as part of the multidisciplinary team on the island for cancer. but it's also the face of cancer and the degree of complications and things that are going on with cancer diagnoses and treatments. And you have to remember that we're 5 years in getting, radiotherapy as well. Back when I was one of the nurses, we didn't have radiotherapy. Patients went away, they were treated, they came up. We never saw those people. Now we have those people as well. So their day is very different from mine. Their day is very busy. They will come in. Some of them don't even necessarily come into the office right away. They will go out and see a couple of patients and then come in. They often will sit and sort of put their diary together, who they're going to see for that day, perhaps phoning the patients and saying, look, I'm going to pop by sometime. We always say ish in this job. We don't think if we say 10 o'clock, it's going to be 10 o'clock, because it won't. There's always something to trip you up. And also for our end of life patients, we visit them at least once every day, depending on where they are in that journey. Sometimes we have to make repeated visits back to the home. So it's very time consuming and it's tiring, driving all the time like that, back and forth. The nurses are divided into the parishes. And so depending on where you live, you will have a nurse in that area. My day, I will come in. I often check in, like I haven't checked in with them today because I've been here, but I go in and I check in next door in their office and see what's going on. Has anybody had any problems? Do they have any issues they want to discuss with me? I also vet all of the referrals that come in. I think response to a referral is very, very important. It's time sensitive. I don't want somebody thinking that, oh, well, I was referred to PALS and nobody called me for 5 days. That doesn't happen. I will make contact either with the patient if that's possible, or they're listed next of kin the minute I've decided that the referral is appropriate, because we do get referrals that are not appropriate. I think what people should understand is that, we are palliative care, but it's a bit of a misnomer, because palliative care takes, true palliative care takes in all life-threatening issues like end-stage heart disease, renal disease, pulmonary disorders, dementias, neurological diseases like Parkinson's and ALS, all of that, and cancer. We are strictly cancer. That is our remit. When we started 45 years ago, was to care for the cancer patient in the community. So I have to sift through that and make sure that, that's being not abused.
Okay. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. We'll get through as many comments and questions as possible. Julie, cancer care often requires complex symptom management. And that could go from pain control to side effects of treatments. Can you walk us through the kind of medical interventions that the nurses provide that really improve a patient's quality of life?
It's a bit of that, there's a broad audience for that question. Each patient is going to be different. Chemotherapies, for example, that are given today are not just the chemotoxic chemos that we used to give. Like, I worked in an infusion center 45 years ago in Montreal. And, all of our drugs at that time were just chemotoxic. In other words, you got something that went in that supposedly killed cancer cells, but it also killed your healthy cells. And because cancer cells are not normal and they don't grow and reproduce like a normal cell, they die off, they can't come back. And the normal cells that are killed off come back. That's a simple explanation for that. But they were all very toxic, and everybody was usually pretty sick with them, and it was a miserable part of treatment. Today, we have lots and lots of other things. We do still use chemotoxic drugs, yes. We use targeted drugs. We use biological drugs. We're now into what we're seeing is the genome is really coming into play, where we have immunotherapy, where they're taking, each patient's DNA and looking at it and individualizing treatments as for that. So you could have 5 people with breast cancer, all the same diagnosis, etc. But because we're different individuals, our treatment should be different. We shouldn't be painted with the same brush. That's all coming forward. And we have really great drugs that are given prior to receiving treatment and during treatment and post-treatment that help with toxicities. And the majority of patients, really, except for maybe some fatigue, they manage very, very well. So, we help manage that. We observe patients, who've, are on treatment. I want to say at this point, remember, there is never a patient that should not be referred to PALS. I fight this every single day. I am so discouraged when I have patients who perhaps, I had one lady call me whose husband had been diagnosed with prostate cancer 4 years prior. And her question to me was, why weren't we offered you then? I can't answer that. Why not? So it is your right as a patient, when you are in the system, you've had your diagnosis, you just say, refer me to PALS. That's your right. Okay. Don't be put off by, oh, well, you're just going to have a little bit of something. You don't need that. That's not true, because there's all kinds of other support that we manage. So we manage pain. Pain can be an issue. Even if we're not looking necessarily, at patients who aren't going to do well and at the end of their life, there's some pain issues with people. We have to know how to assess that. We have to think about that. We have to know our drugs, our interactions with drugs. We have to be able to convey that to our physician. She's one person. We're 6 people. I make kind of a 7th. I don't carry a caseload, but I jump in when I can. We have to be able to convey that to her so that she can then just go in and say, yep, these, you've made this right assessment, and this is what I need to start for the patient, or this isn't holding the patient. We need to amp it up. So we do that. Emotional support, nutritional support. We have a huge number of head and necks at the moment, more than we've ever had. And I do kind of know why that's happening, but we're really seeing it. And that really does affect nutrition for patients.
I want to just switch gears, because I'm thinking about the individuals, like the nurses and yourself, and they see patients in very personal and often vulnerable moments. What's the balance like with the clinical professionalism, with the compassion and reassurance families need?
I think we're really different. You're absolutely right. We are brought into a patient's life and their family at a very vulnerable time. Even if you're going to do well, especially if you're not going to do well, it doesn't matter. This is a scary, scary time. And you're laid wide open. And this strange woman, we are all girls on my team. We don't have a rooster in the hen house at the moment. And this strange woman, strange girl, knocks on your door and walks into your family. And from my point of view, I find that is the most humbling part of humanity. To the fact that once you get to know the family and the patient, we really do become part of that. And I hope that patients and families really understand that this is not a robotic thing for us. We become attached to you as well. Sometimes way, way more than other times. That's true. But it's very humbling. To me, it's a privilege that should never be abused. And because of that, we should always be putting our best foot forward to help where we can. But it's emotionally very distressing for us. I think people think that maybe medical people, we box ourselves off, and in some areas in medicine, yes, you do. Like I worked in emergency medicine for 18 years. You see some pretty gruesome stuff, and you do have to sort of like put that wall there. In this particular scenario, no, you don't. You've got to open your heart, and that's where your compassion comes from. That is huge for helping these people. And so that plays a very much an emotional toll on us as well. So that adds to our pressures at work.
Indeed. I'll get to the audience in a second. You can keep your questions and comments coming. I'll get to you in a second. Home care means you sometimes face emergencies, a sudden change in pain levels or breathing difficulties or unexpected complications. How do you and your team prepare for and respond to urgent medical situations?
Preparation starts at hiring. Now, way back, my thought process for, who would be qualified to apply for a job at PALS when they come up. I expected at least to have 10 years of nursing experience, and 5 years in some kind of emergency type medicine, either in the ICU or the emergency room, because you do have to problem solve and think on your feet, and that's where you do that kind of stuff. And a broad base, like either, a split between medicine and surgery in the adult population. We're very fortunate here. We don't deal a lot with pediatrics. Pediatrics are often just not really part of what we do. They're taken away. They're sent to either Boston Children's or Montreal Children's, and they're taken care of there. I think the youngest that we've had was a young 15-year-old boy that we dealt with, but since I've been here. So it starts at the beginning of that type of a nurse, right? That clinical basis, where you're a good, strong nurse, where you can think, you can problem solve, and then comes, the compassion side of things is also most important. So when we have emergencies in the community, it's not like emergencies in general medicine. Those are a lot. Within oncology, which is the study of cancer, there are maybe 5 or 6 like things that we have to pay attention to and know about and be able to say, that's what's going on, and work at that. Now, part of our remit, of course, is not to admit patients to the hospital. Okay. And if we can head that off, because I say we do have our physician, if we can head that off and manage the patient at home, that's what we'll do. But there are occasions when we just can't do that. And so then it's treated just like any other emergency. It's a 911 call and you go to the hospital.
Makes sense. It's a tough conversations, but I'm grateful for the work that you do. But beyond patients, nurses also support families, explaining medication, teaching safe care practices, and just being a calm presence in these times. What kind of training and skills do nurses need, I guess, to guide families through such stressful times?
I think if I can, I'm sorry, yeek. I think if we can, it's being calm around the family when, especially say, for example, like you're saying, pain, maybe pain at the end of life. Sometimes, we do employ caregivers with a company. We exclusively use BZs for end-of-life care. End-of-life care means that you don't expect the patient to be living within a 3-month window. When our physician declares that a patient is at end of life, then we step in to a point, and in the beginning, we can cover between, say, 8 and 12 hours a day that PALS helps pay for. And then that leaves 12 hours a day with the family. And so if they can't afford to bring in their own caregivers to fill that void, then sometimes, yes, you're right. We do have to sort of like say, Uncle Bill is going to need to have pain medication given, and we're going to teach you how to do it. It's simple, but it's not simple for someone who's never had to do it. you know? So recognizing that it's difficult for them, supporting them. I just recently did something with a family, and the family member was very anxious about having to do this. And I basically looked at her and said, you're not going to hurt him. You're not. You're helping him. Don't be afraid. I think if you give them that permission, you're not hurting. There's nothing you can do to hurt him by what I'm telling you or asking you to do for him. What you're going to do is you're going to help him. And I think if they get that permission that, okay, she says, that I'm okay. I'm not going to hurt him. That puts them at rest. I think you have to know how to read people, listen to people, hear what people are saying. Conversation and listening and communication is an art in and of itself. So you have to be able to do that. Yeah.
Indeed. Let's just go to the audience, Julie. Lydia Simmons is asking, are the chemo pills used a lot in Bermuda?
It depends, Mrs. Simmons. There are some chemotherapy drugs that are in tablet form, especially with some of the colorectal cancers. And I think worldwide, I think the plan is, I won't be alive to see it, but the plan is to try and sort of move more of the infused drugs to some kind of a tablet form. That's worldwide. We have some here and we do use them, yes. What I will caution you on, though, is if you have insurance, and that is even if you're at the government level, HIP or Future Care, or private, and you are receiving an infusion in the infusion center at the hospital, it doesn't matter what that costs hanging up on that bag and dripping into your vein. It could be $5,000, $20,000. You're covered. The minute you go out of the hospital and start taking a tablet, it's not covered. Okay? It's like maybe the 80-20, right? But the tablets might be like, especially for the prostate patients, like there's been huge development in the last 20 years in prostate cancer care. A lot of our gentlemen are on oral tablets that set them back, $10,000 a month. And you've got to pay the 80-20 on that. And even 20% is way more than what some people can do. So that's a mindful thing. That's something that would have to change, as far as I'm concerned, within the insurance companies in how they're going to better cover oral agents in the community.
All right. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, my mother was serviced by PALS twice. It's a great service for the patients and the family. We are fortunate in Bermuda. He's just asking, are there any other jurisdictions that offer similar service free of charge that you know
of? Hi, Mr. Jeffers. I do remember your mom. How can I say this? We deal with the cancer, as you know. We are a charity, as you know, and we do not charge for our services. Our nursing services are free. What happens to all of those other people that I mentioned before, like the motor neuron diseases, the COPD lung patients, the cardiac patients, the renal patients, dementia, frailty in the elderly? 25% of us baby boomers are alive and we're not well. That's a huge problem. And there is basically nothing. There's a chasm that needs to be filled. Now, there is an agency called TLC, and they do support patients in that realm. They started, I can't tell you when they started, but it was some time ago. Again, when I think, public health was different, how they manage chronic patients in the community is different from what they do now. And There's no support. There's no support for any of those people, really. TLC will take you on, but they claim from your insurance. If we claim maybe like 5 little things from insurance. But if you don't have insurance, and like almost the majority of our patients are either underinsured or indigent, if we'll still serve you. It doesn't matter to us. We just don't
No,
get that
but
little bit
I
of
think
money.
he was asking. No, I think he was asking, are you familiar with any other programs similar to PALS in other jurisdictions that are free of
You mean
charge?
like
Other
globally?
countries? No, other
Out of
countries.
off the island?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. In the UK, there's the Macmillan nurses and Marie Claire. In the US, I think they try and do it, but you have to think demographically and geographically, it's huge. So how can they manage this? I went to a course at Harvard a number of years ago with our doctor, and they were sort of talking about how to do what we do. And we almost banged our heads together saying, we already do that.
Yeah.
So it's hard work, but Macmillan nurses, sort of in the UK, Macmillan nurses and Marie Claire nurses offer community support to cancer patients or palliative care patients. They do the broad spectrum. Yeah.
All right. We had, because you were mentioning the referrals earlier, Polly Rich said, happened to me with a relative, was not referred. How can people tuned in right now who they may come across that? How should they respond to it if they don't get a referral for PALS?
If you're me, you're rude. No, you don't take, no. I'm not saying, can I? I'm saying, give me. I know that I can be referred to PALS at any time in my diagnosis. It's never too early. It's never too late. Okay. I want this referral. We have to have a referral. It's a legal requirement because we are a standalone charity, and for some reason that's the way the law is. So we have to have a referral. So we can't take self-referrals. I get calls all the time. Patients want a self-referral. I can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't. So if you're being seen in oncology, any of the oncology physicians can write the referral. If you're being seen in radiation, any of the radiation physicians and the radiation nurses can refer to me. If you have a GP, you can go to your GP and knock on the door and say, you sent me because I've got cancer. I want a referral to PALS. And if you're abroad, I will take it from a physician or a nurse practitioner from abroad as well. Because sometimes people are emergency air vac'd out. Their feet don't even touch us here, but then they come back with everything. So I like to know about those patients while they're out there, because we can get into their portals and follow them. And so we're not sort of just faced with a patient that got, a horrendous disease course, and now we have to try and figure it out, and we don't know what's been going on.
Yeah. I really appreciate having these conversations with you, because the truth is, most of us don't know the importance, or I'll use Charles H. Jeffers wrote another comment. He says, I can attest to the high level of professionalism and compassion displayed by my mother's PALS nurse and doctor as she transitioned. I remain grateful. And I have that same experience. This is something you may not want to experience, but knowing it's there and you exist, should anyone need to, it's really heartwarming. And I cannot thank PALS and yourself and your team and your colleagues enough. Every time we have one of these conversations, I have people who have written to us or sent me private messages that have my number, just saying, man, like, I know you can't have PALS on every day or every month, but just the reminder there for people who don't know, because unfortunately, there are people who haven't had your services that may need them very soon. And to know the work that you will do, I just want to humanize it. And I think you've done a great job of humanizing your colleagues today. These are real people. They have families to go home to. So I just want to say thank you to Julianne, to yourself and Colleen and everyone at PALS for not just the work you do, but being able to communicate and engage people about your existence and wanting to work with families who are going through this.
Jamal, could I have 15 seconds?
Of course.
We could always use companions, not drivers, not volunteers, a companion to sit with somebody sometimes. a lot of people are alone in this world. They don't have anybody. And that makes me really, really sad. And just to have someone, a gentleman, to sit with the gentleman and talk about cricket. So if anybody ever wanted to be a companion, we welcome that. If everybody should have a will, everyone should be saying how that I want to drive this bus right until I step off this earth. So you should have your wishes done and be known to your family and friends. Okay, speak it into a tape. I'm old. Into a tape. Put it on one of those little stick things that you can stick in a computer. Tell everybody what you want. And the third thing is like, if you do these things, if you have like a living power of attorney, you have a directive about your health, what you want what you want and what you don't want to happen to you as you decline in your health, your will, find a safe place to put it and let everybody know where it is. I've done that for my social worker, Shamika, who works really, really hard. And at a time of crisis, which even if you're prepared for someone who's going to die, it is still a time of crisis. And you don't, so like mitigate some of the things that can happen at that time. Trust me, it will make a big difference in your life.
Yeah, that's so smart to get and just doing a video with your wishes. So, and thank you for those final 3 points. No, that we will always have time to share more valuable information with our audience. So thank you once again, Julie. Just remind people, what's the best way to get in touch? Is it go to pals.bm or how
you can, well, we have the general is info@pals.bm.
Okay.
And my email is jharrington, like the sound, HARRINGTON @pals.bm. Okay. The phone number is 236-7257. Lacey or Patricia will usually answer that. They're our front office administrators. They know where we are all the time. I don't leave the office without telling them where I'm going. My phone number, again, is the PALS number. And then it's one of those, I can't stand it, those things you have to go through. You press 3 and then 6. That comes directly to my desk. It goes right to my phone. It goes onto my email. So I know that somebody's trying to get in touch with me, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can, or walk in. I've had many people.
And where are you located? Where are you located?
We're on 18 Point Finger Road. So we're kind of in between like the private home on one side of us and Dr. Wong's office on the other side of us, across from like the beginnings of all the new parking lots when they did the building of the new wing. So, and we've got a great big sign. It says PALS and there's a big bluebird, and our thrift store is downstairs. You come upstairs, like come up the side of the building. At the top, there's a doorbell to ring. We are secured. There's a doorbell to ring, and you'll be let in. Just come up. I've had lots of people come up and say, help me, or my husband has this, I need help. It's easy. Just come. And if we can help you in any way, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Julie, thank you so much for this conversation this morning. And always appreciate PALS. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Jamel, for having me. It's a pleasure to talk about something that I am so committed to.
Absolutely.
Because I'm getting kind of long in the tooth. And Yabai there that does the commercials, I think he got his outfit at Thrifts, okay?
I'm going to let him know. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Julie Harrington, folks, from PALS. She's talking about Mr. Photogenic. If you missed it, folks, thanks again. And folks, if you tuned into this show, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, do us that favor. It costs you nothing. Just give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Help us beat the algorithms. These conversations are community-centric. They are needed to be heard. They need to be heard by everyone you know. Trust me. All right, folks, we're going to take our final break. We're going to come back after this, and we'll do the daily play, and I'll give my final thoughts. Stay tuned.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework.
At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazoc Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Julie Harrington and PALS for such important community engagement on the Daily Hour on a bi-monthly basis. Catch them every other month on this program. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. Folks, if you haven't already, please make sure whatever platform you are streaming on, you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Send a link on WhatsApp in your favorite groups. Just ensure everyone you know has access to these most important community conversations. It's a case of you don't know that you need them until you do. So I just hope everyone understands the importance of an organization like PALS and that they exist to help those who are in need of their services. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, are you ready? It is a name that is there. Here we go. Here we go, audience. What is South America's smallest country by area? We have no one. Stacey Ann Brown, put up at the buzzer. Suriname, yeah, she is correct, folks. She is correct. Absolutely correct. No one else got that, huh? No one. You all were waiting on Stacey to show up and give you the answer. No, not Uruguay. No. Suriname, yep. Yeah, you got it. You got it. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. I'll say this much about the PLP and Aisha Musson regarding, the progress that they're saying has been made. While I appreciate that the PLP has been doing some work, while I appreciate that they are making progress, we have to define what progress is and what it looks and feels like. Is progress going from an F grade to a D? Or is progress going from a B to an A plus? I don't think that the work of the PLP is being hidden by sensationalized headlines and social media. The facts of the matter are that many Bermudians are living in a very uncomfortable space due to it, maybe the gang violence problem. Maybe it's having to feel like they have to leave Bermuda because they can't afford to live in Bermuda. Groceries and healthcare and electricity, not feeling confident in the education system and can't afford to send their children to private school, so they have to feel like they have to leave Bermuda. I have no problem with the government celebrating wins. But you also have to reassure people and make them understand or believe that you're working to reduce gang violence, to reduce government debt, to bring Bermudians back and reduce the amount of people leaving, to provide support for the aging population, to go beyond having summits about the cost of living and actually creating ways for new investment where groceries, healthcare, and electricity don't have people living paycheck to paycheck. You know, I said it then, and I'll say it back when the OBA were government, and I'll continue to say it. A government that's truly working for the people doesn't need to constantly tell the people what they're doing for them. The people will feel it. As far as the conversation with Julian Harrington from PALS, as I just stated, that's an organization that every Bermudian should know of. They are an organization that deserves the gratitude that people in this audience continue to show when they come on. Everyone I know who has needed PALS has spoken about how important they are to our community. And I'll leave you with this. If you are able to be a companion, and I was by my mom's bedside during her last days, and I know how important having a companion is. If you have the time, if you're available, it will go a long way. So reach out to them. Go to pals.bm and look up the organization, learn about it, and see how you can get involved. I've got to give you a daily inspiration. And I'll just say this, and it's kind of goes with what else I've said over the last couple of weeks. Stop waiting until someone knocks on your door to be of value to others. When your community needs you, show up. But don't wait on the community to come and grab you. I gotta let you go. Don't forget, you all owe me $3 for not winning the lottery last night. Don't forget about that part. And don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are Is Out. Peace.